Someone is coming for you, not with weapons, with words, pressure, manipulation, or rage. And in that moment, everything you've built inside yourself will be tested. Not your strength, not your size, your mind. The chest tightens, the pulse climbs, every instinct screams to react, to defend, to escape. But there's another option, one that most people never discover. Stillness. Not the stillness of weakness, the stillness of someone who has already won the only battle that matters. The one inside. The Stoics understood this with brutal clarity. A person who governs their inner world cannot be defeated by the outer one. In the next few minutes, you'll learn how to remain unshakable in any confrontation. Not by chance, by design. The ancient philosophers who shaped Stoicism didn't theorize from comfort. Marcus Aurelius commanded armies and managed an empire on the edge of collapse, yet returned each night to write about keeping his mind clear. Seneca navigated the court of a murderous emperor, yet taught that no threat could disturb a mind that owned itself. Epictetus was born into chains, yet became the freest mind of his era because no one could reach what he protected. These weren't abstract thinkers. They were men under pressure, real pressure. And what they built wasn't philosophy. It was armor. The kind that doesn't rust. The kind you forge in silence before the storm arrives. If you study these principles deeply, you'll enter any confrontation, emotional, verbal, psychological, with the quiet certainty of someone who cannot be rattled. Before we go further, most people stop here. If you're still watching, you're different. Subscribe to Silent Forge, not for motivation, but for mental tools you can actually use. In a world of noise, we offer direction. In a world of distraction, we build discipline. Hit that subscribe button now. Let's continue forging. Principle 1. Detach from the need to defend yourself. The Stoics identified ego as the first casualty in any confrontation. The moment you take something personally, you hand your opponent the controls. Marcus Aurelius wrote that very little is needed to destroy a man, just the belief that he has been wronged. When you detach from that belief, the attack loses its edge. It becomes information instead of injury. In confrontation, emotional neutrality is not coldness, it's advantage. The person who observes instead of reacts always sees more. The person who analyzes instead of defends always moves better. He who stays calm does not just hold the field. He owns it. Stop protecting your ego. Start protecting your clarity. Principle 2. Rigidity is a trap disguised as strength. Seneca wrote that the wise person bends like a tree in wind, not because they're weak, but because they understand that what cannot bend will break. When you lock onto a single outcome in a confrontation, you become readable, predictable. And predictability is the most dangerous vulnerability you can carry into conflict. The rigid fighter telegraphs every move. The fluid mind adapts. If your opponent expects fire, offer silence. If they expect resistance, shift your position. Flexibility doesn't signal weakness, it signals sophistication. The Stoic isn't a wall. The Stoic is water, and water doesn't smash through obstacles. It flows around them, finds every crack, and wins without a single visible effort. Release your attachment to how things must go, and watch how much more you're able to control. Principle 3. There is always more than one path forward. Epictetus taught that your response is the only territory you fully own. Everything else, the confrontation, the other person, the outcome, has countless possible shapes. A confrontation is not a narrow hallway with one exit. It's an open field with multiple elevations. Sometimes strength is speaking with surgical precision. Sometimes strength is deliberate silence. Sometimes strength is walking away entirely and watching your opponent collapse into the space you refuse to occupy. Withdrawal is not surrender when it preserves your advantage. In arguments, silence drains the aggressor faster than any rebuttal ever will. In negotiations, small tactical concessions build positions for larger victories. When you understand that alternatives always exist, you stop reacting inside your opponent's frame. You stop playing their game. You start designing your own. Principle 4. Read the pattern beneath the behavior. The Stoics studied human nature without sentiment or illusion. They believe that once you understand why people act, you can predict what they'll do before they do it. Most confrontations follow the same hidden architecture. Aggression almost always conceals fear. Insults almost always reveal insecurity. Dominance almost always signals a person whose sense of control is already collapsing. When you see this clearly, nothing surprises you. And when nothing surprises you, nothing destabilizes you. Watch the tone beneath the words. Watch the posture shifting under the pressure. Watch the hesitation hiding behind the loudness. People reveal far more than they intend to when they're under stress. That awareness is an invisible weapon. It's called foresight, and foresight is where composure is born. Principle 5. Train before the storm arrives. Marcus Aurelius rehearsed difficulty in his mind every single morning so that when difficulty arrived in reality, it found a mind already prepared. Epictetus made his students practice restraint in low-stakes conversations so that under genuine pressure, restraint was already muscle. Calm is not a gift. Calm is conditioning. If your mind fractures when someone cuts you off in traffic, how will it hold when someone tries to dismantle your character? If you collapse when inconvenienced, how will you stand when genuinely threatened? Every small confrontation you face is a rehearsal. Every moment someone provokes you, and you choose steadiness over reaction, you sharpen your discipline. Every moment someone pressures you, and you breathe instead of break, you reinforce your command. Self-control is not one weapon among many. It is the weapon that makes all others unnecessary. Master yourself, and the confrontation ends before it begins. This is the core of what the Stoics built. Not a system for winning fights, a system for becoming someone who doesn't lose them. Stop taking things personally, and you become untouchable. Stop fixating on single outcomes, and you become unreadable. Embrace multiple paths, and you become strategic. Learn to read human patterns, and you become impossible to deceive. Train your mind daily, and you become unbreakable. Most people live inside their reactions. They collapse under pressure because they never decided to face pressure with intention. But in a world full of people who react, the one who remains still is the one who wins, not by force, by design. So the next time someone comes for you, don't rush, don't tremble, don't shrink, breathe. Because the moment you stay calm, the confrontation is already yours. Write in the comments, "I stay calm," not as a statement, as a declaration. Subscribe to Silent Forge. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because in a world of chaos, the person who has forged their mind in silence is the last one standing, and they won't even look like they tried.